Northampton away. I was trying to think of an analogy for your first half of the season. Are you the Blackpool of League Two? In other words, of perhaps overachieving from where people outside the club and other than the hardcore fans might have thought you might be?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll take that as a compliment if we are, you know. Ultimately, it's not about budgets and money you've got. It's about your players, you know. Yeah, you're given a scale to work on, and you know, you've got to keep within a restraint. But it's about getting them players to play, and my players have been superb throughout the season. Yeah, we've had the odd blip, but on the whole, we've responded well. I think if people knew what we were working with money-wise, you know, it does make people stand up and think, wow. But it's not about that. It's about making the best of what you've got. The players proving that they're good players, proving one or two people that have cast them aside, you know, wrong, and that can only benefit us. You know, and that's what we've tried to work on all season. That's what we've tried to get within the camp. You know, we talked in the summer about bringing players who've got a point to prove, and you know they're doing that. You know, more than anything else, they're doing it for this club and for themselves and for us as a group, and that's standing us in a decent stead so far. And all we want to do is, you know, I think we've proved that we can play. We've proved that we can compete, and we've proved, you know, one or two of them have proved 1 or 2 points to certain people. But it's not about that now. It's now making sure that we continue to improve and continue to pick up points.
I draw the Blackpool analogy because Holloway has said that their spirit is something that he's never experienced at almost any other club. Is that something that you think here can take you a long way?
I certainly think spirit's massive. It can take you to that next level that you perhaps don't deserve to be, is the wrong word, but don't think you can. Sometimes people don't think you can get to. I think if you've got a spirit amongst the players, and that everyone, they don't even have to be best pals, but they have to be, when they're out there, they have to work together. When they're, whatever they do, they have to want to do it as a group, and they do that. You know, me and Neil and the staff, we try and encourage them to. We want them all to get on, and they do. But you know, you're not going to be best pals with everybody every day, because everybody wants to be playing. They're all winners. You know, you see incidents on training grounds. You know, a lot of highlights in the papers. We don't have that, but they're young boys. They all want to win at whatever we do, and sometimes there's little disagreements, but it's all for the good of us. You know, we don't let anything get out of hand. They're working extremely hard for the cause at the moment, and with that comes the undoubted quality that a lot of them possess.
In terms of this part of the season, this is the ugly part, isn't it? The cold days, the muddy pitches potentially. It's all right playing well in August when the sun's on your back, but is this an important time in terms of getting into a position where something might happen later on? Yeah,
of course, yeah. I think we've put ourselves in a decent enough position, but the league is so tight. You know, we're not kidding ourselves. A couple of wins, couple of defeats. You know, you go up or down. We just got to, one game at a time is where we're going to be. We come in, we'll work at whatever we feel's right. You know, sometimes it's right to go in a pool. Sometimes it's right to have a lighter session. Sometimes we have to work even harder. But we have to keep improving, keep making sure that everyone's focused. But we also have to do it with a smile on our face, because that's what we've done so far. You know, we won't be changing anything. Just looking to keep learning and improving.
Northampton played best part of an hour against you at home with 10 men, and it was still difficult to break them down. I mean, you did in the end, but it was so hard.
Yeah, they're a good team, you know, and Ian's a good manager. You know, they went up to Liverpool and beat them, so that's a fantastic achievement. Every game in this league is tough. You know, if you take anybody lightly, then it doesn't happen for you. You know, I had a manager talking yesterday about in a championship on the radio saying, you know, there's not a game in that league where you think, oh, we can relax a little bit now, and we can, and it's the same through every league. Every league is even tighter this year. You know, there seems to be a lot of teams who can beat each other in every league, and ours is exactly the same. And we don't take teams lightly. We talk later in the week about strengths and weaknesses that we think are there on our opposition. But what we try and do is concentrate on what we're good at, concentrate on what we want to do, what we want to get out of the game. sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't quite work, and you have to change your game plan a little bit. But we try and concentrate on us, because we feel that's the way the players best respond with the ones we've got.
And if you can pull something out of the bag from a set piece like Marlon did
Yeah.
on Monday,
Yeah.
it's that little X factor that might tip the balance of a game in your way.
Of course it is. Of course it is. I think Monday was, a classic case of smash and grab's the wrong word, but we did our work in the first half, and then we had a lot of tired boys out there. With Martin going off injured, it sort of disrupted my thinking in terms of what I wanted to do. In terms of, I'm trying to be as positive as I can with my substitutions. I don't like us to be too negative, but I just sometimes if I feel that that's the only way that we're going to protect a lead, or we're getting overrun, then I'll do it. But I want to be as positive as I can. I don't do anything to be negative, and that's going to carry on be the case.
I heard Alistair Cook talking about England at the Ashes. They've had a great winter, and he said we haven't even been thinking about winning the next match or the next day's play. It's the next
Session.
half an hour. Is
Yeah.
that what you're trying to do? Not to get people to think about the big picture too much.
Yeah, definitely. Ours is the next game. Theirs is over a 5-day period. It's slightly different. Ours is the game, and that if that means winning a half and then winning the next half, then so be it. But we concentrate on games. We don't try not to get ahead of ourselves. When you have people see a big game in a couple of weeks, or against the team that's at the top of the table, there's no difference if you're playing at the top of the table or the bottom of the table in terms of the way you've got to approach it, the way you've got to prepare for it and be ready for it. Because, like I said before, it's a funny game, football, and you can play the top team and win and think, well, what's that about? And then you can play the bottom team and come totally unstuck. So our mindset hasn't got to change. We've one game at a time, and we work as hard as we need to in preparation for that game.
You were down to your last 18 players on Monday, and you
Yeah.
lost Martin Riley. What's the news on his hamstring?
Again, we'll assess it again today. It wasn't as bad as we thought. Hopefully, I'll speak to Wes in a little while, and that'll still be the same. He's still going to be 3 to 4 weeks. He's still going to be out, and that's a big blow to us. We've Andy Gallen has just we've given him a little bit of a breather. So obviously Gallas comes back into contention. It's a blow, but we've just got to get on with it. Like you have to. We're not moaners. We don't do it. Obviously our thoughts are now: have we got to bring something else in? And only time will tell.
Has the phone been busy?
I was on the phone
The window is open.
I was on the phone for 26 hours yesterday. Yeah, I've been making lots of phone calls, trying to get a couple of things sorted. And as of yet, I've got nothing to go on. Hopefully today, tomorrow there'll be something. I do think we need a couple of bodies in just to boost us. One or two things have fallen away. One or two things have come to the surface. Like I say, in the next 24 hours, hopefully there'll be something to report.
Is there any further clarity on Marlon Pack's position? Obviously, he was on a season-long loan from Portsmouth,
and he still is, and that's where we are. I have. When did I speak to Steve? He was travelling to Brighton against Charlton last week, was it? So just before New Year, he's on a season-long loan. I think if it was anybody else but Cheltenham Town, I think he would probably be under. He would possibly be thinking about recalling him to put him on the bench, for numbers. We've got him on a season-long loan. It's got to be a three-way thing, but he's here to stay. He wants to be here. You can see by his celebration. You can see by the way he gets on with the boys. He's a big part of us, and we're indebted to Steve and to Portsmouth for allowing us to have him on a season-long loan. That's the deal we signed, and hopefully that'll remain the case.
I wasn't thinking of him going back. I was thinking of you potentially signing.
Yeah, I saw a report. I saw that. Let's just see what happens. Financially, it might not be doable at the moment. I don't know. He's been brilliant for us. I haven't spoken to the chairman or the board about taking it any further at this stage, but it is something that that I'll speak to Marlon first. There's no point in me going to the board and saying let's do this, and if Marlon doesn't want to do it anyway. So we'll see what happens. He's been brilliant for us, and long may that continue.
The way Marlon talks, you can tell how much he's enjoying it here. Do you think that could go a long way?
You hope so.
If it comes down to
you hope so. You hope so. We try and. I've said all along, we're trying to have a good atmosphere around the place. A happy camp for me is the way to go. But you're not going to keep everybody happy. You talk to one or two and they'll be disappointed they're not in the team, and quite rightly so. That's what we want. But they're all fighting for the cause, all fighting to get their shirt and keep it. And of course, if Marlon's enjoying it, then it does go some way. But let's just see what happens. He's been great, and like I say, if we just keep him focused on his football, what happens next will take care of itself.
Yeah. Wesley said again, like he did after the Shrewsbury game, he said that he wants to stay for the rest of the season. What does that mean for your situation?
It means he's here banging goals in for us till the end of the season. I spoke to his agent on Tuesday and yesterday, and I've got to speak to Wes today. I've had a good chat with his agent. He's a good guy who's not trying to, move him here, there, and everywhere. He talks very well. I don't think he's giving me any flannel. I'll speak to Wes today. Other circumstances might not be perfect, in terms of location, in terms of his girlfriend, in terms of family and stuff like that. But like I say, we're going to do everything we can to make sure that he's here beyond that. Sometimes that's not enough. If you're throwing Premiership money at it, I'm sure his family moved down straight away. It's pack your bags, we're off to wherever. But we're far from that, and we'll do everything we can to persuade him that this is the place for him to play his football. All I do know is that he's really enjoying his football. He's been given a chance. He's more than taken it, and we want to make sure that he's here for longer.
You're almost paying the price for your own success, because it's happened to you before, hasn't it? Signing good strikers, seeing them score a load of goals, and then struggling to keep them.
That's life, you've got to get on with it. Signing him on a 1-year deal, perhaps could have gone 2, but it was just, it was gamble's the wrong word, but it was a chance worth taking, and that's what happens. But it shows that I can pick players. It shows that I can see a decent player, and my staff. We just got to, like I say, we'll be doing everything we can to make sure that we do everything we can to keep him.
Yeah. If he carries on scoring like he has been, and then does move on a free at the end of the season, the amount of money you pay for him, it'd still be good value, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
And he might have helped you get where you want to be.
If we're as successful as we want to be, then he might want to stay. He might want to stay even more than he does now. So, like I say, let's just see what happens. I don't like talking in public about people's contracts, but about what I want to do to bring people in and stuff like that. All I can say to Cheltenham fans is that rest assured that I want my best players in and around me for longer periods of time, and I'll be doing everything that I can to ensure that the football club does everything we can.
Yeah, back to Northampton. I think you're unbeaten in 5 away. That's decent record.
Yeah.
What do you put that down to? The recent sort of solid away form.
Heard Stevie's quotes, about that we're learning to win away. I think we're just a better team than we were at the start of the season, where our home form was good, and we know we need to pick that up a little bit. But like I said before, every game's tough. To get 9 wins so far this season, I think's decent. 5 at home, 4 away. So we're catching up with each other with our home and away wins. We've just got this team don't necessarily play better at home, I just think we go and try and play football. I think our Shrewsbury performance was superb, particularly first half. Our Accrington performance was superb first half. We don't try and do anything different. We've had good first halves against Wickham. I thought we were excellent. So we just got to keep working harder and harder and harder. And if we do that, then we'll win more games than we lose.
Yep. Cheers, Mark.